Hi guys, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. So I haven't done a video for about a month. There's no real reason for that other than I've been quite busy. So I thought coming back to the videos today might be nice for me to do a little bit of a progress update as to how I'm feeling and how I'm doing. And then maybe you guys can take something from that to maybe help you with your recovery. So I would say that I am within the range of 60 to 70% better. And I think some days I can be at 70%. And some days it drops down a bit and moves back to sort of the early 60s, just 60 to 65. So, for example, today I did feel perhaps worse than I did yesterday. So I noticed this afternoon I got like a big spell of derealization that suddenly came forward, and I was all thrown about by the derealization. But then yesterday I never had that, So I'd say I operate within that range, 60 to 70%. So what have I done to get to that point? Well, a few things. So I've made a bit of a list as well, so I don't forget anything. So I'd say the first thing I've done is that I think I have found the right drug combination that works for me. Now, I'm not sure that will work for you because we're all different. And also I'm not a doctor, so I can't necessarily recommend you take drugs, but you certainly, maybe if you hear about these drugs from this video, you can then talk to your doctor about them. So I call it the Holy Trinity, and I don't mean Paul Coots, John Fleck and Mark Duffy and Sheffield United in midfield. I mean the three drugs that I'm taking. So the first drug I took, and I think it's a fantastic drug, it's sertraline. So that starts to help you get control of your mood, and of course the mood aspect is a really nasty element of vestibular migraine. So the sertraline over time has kind of stabilized my mood, and that's meant that I can handle my symptoms a lot better and be a lot more rational about the condition and not get overawed by it, which was certainly happening when I was going through the really chronic stage when I was just getting no better. So sertraline's the first drug. The second drug is a smallish dose of propranolol. So I'm on, what am I on, 20 in the morning and 20 in an evening. I should say the sertraline, by the way, I'm on 100 mgs. So going back to propranolol, 20 in the morning, 20 in the evening. And that helps with kind of like the sort of more of the anxiety side again with the palpitations if you experience those with vestibular migraine, but it is a drug that can help treat migraines. I understand it's more for traditional migraines, but I've certainly carried on taking it, and I don't take as big a dose as I used to, so I don't feel the same effects of it like I was. So on a very high dose you feel very sluggish, you feel like you can't exercise properly, but on a much lower dose your body can cope with that just okay. And then the final drug that I'm taking, which I probably should have done a separate video on, but I've never really got round to it, is amitriptyline. I don't know what that's called in the States. It might have the same name, it might be called something different, but I'm on a very, very small dose of that. So I'm actually only take 5 mgs an evening with that. So those three drugs together, I think, have really helped me move forward with my, progress forward with my recovery. And I think the good thing is I'm taking a very small dose of those things. So for example, the sertraline and amitriptyline don't conflict with each other, because if you took very high doses of those, you'd risk something called serotonin syndrome. Talk to your doctors about it if you want to know a bit more, but because my doses are fairly low, I'm not in any danger on that. So that's my first kind of thing that I think's helped recover me, is getting the right meds and doing the right things in terms of taking them. I'd say the second thing that's really helped me is kind of having your sort of survival kit. So it's things that you can help you in certain situations. So I've done a video before on the FL41 glasses and the computer glasses, and also your bog standard trendy glasses. Oh, here's the FL41s. There they are, just to remind people. So yeah, it's the Cyclops one. So having those with me, and then perhaps also having things like so I had a spell of having quite bad heartburn, so I always had some heartburn tablets with me. It's that way around, isn't it? So having that survival kit with you means that you can kind of start to then come out of your kind of, I wouldn't say it's a comfort zone because we all feel very uncomfortable, don't we? But come out of your shell and actually then try things that will help with your recovery, like going to the shops, which is still not the best thing for me, but not doing it at all wouldn't help me recover. And I think the big one actually is having these kind of things then mean you can start thinking about getting back to the workplace. So if I'm feeling particularly derealized like I did this afternoon, suddenly at work, all of a sudden out of the blue, I just stuck these on so I could carry on working. I didn't have to go home sick or anything. So I think that really helps, having those things. And it also then kind of leads you into my next point, which is something that I've tried to do, which I think really does help your recovery, is actually getting back to the world. And again, I've done a separate video on that, so try and check it out. I'll stick the link below. So these tools enable you to get back to the world, and then that means that you can actually start to try and do some of the things you enjoy. So for example, I've managed to go to the cinema twice now, so I saw Spider-Man and Joker. Joker was absolutely fantastic, by the way, but I'm not going to see that bollocks new Terminator film because I don't like what they've done with that in terms of killing off key characters. But anyway, so after I'd been to the cinema for the first time, I was feeling epic. I felt really great. I've also been able to go back to the football, and the football I just wear my stand glasses really, so that's been really good for me. So and going to work as well, and going to the pub. I've been able to go to the pub, and I found that over time, you know, I would have perhaps taken the FL41s with me, but now I just tend to take the standard ones. But I haven't thus far needed to slip them on. I've been to 2 beer festivals actually where there's loads of people and loads of motion. But I found I could cope. I was sensible. I didn't overly drink or drink too much. And also I did move when I was sat in a position where I could see lots of people going past. So I asked my friend if he'd swap places with me, and he kindly did. So having that survival kit leads on to point 3, which is, of course, getting back to the world. So another tip I think to help me recover is taking the right vitamins. Do you know, and I should have checked this before I started talking, but I know I take magnesium, I think it's vitamin B2, and I take some vitamin D. And I also take something called krill oil, which is kind of like a fish oil, but more precise, I think. And it's you know, it's not as watered down as the stuff you'd get from like Holland and Barrett or the common drugstores. So vitamins, I think, help me. And of course, they're good for you anyway. So, you know, there's no harm in taking them, is there? So leading on from vitamins is also kind of trying to maintain my fitness as much as possible. I mean, I've had a bit of a bum week because my local gym's been shut for maintenance, but it's reopened today, so I went. So maybe I look a bit more pumped than normal. I don't know. So the exercise, I think, really helps, and that also helps with the anxiety side. And I think it's definitely helped my recovery. It makes you feel just like work does, where work gives you a purpose back. I think going to the gym makes you feel like, actually, I am in control of some aspects of my body. I am moving towards making my body look and behave better because I'm working on it in the gym or going for a walk or whatever it is that you do. So fitness is another one I definitely think's aided my recovery. And then I'm kind of like now on to the last point, and I know people might roll their eyes and think, oh, piss off, Matt. But I honestly think that time has been really key in my recovery. So recovery. So giving myself time, giving the body time to heal. You know, things don't get better overnight, especially with something like VM. And I know if we're younger people with it, we've been used to having a cold that goes after 1 or 2 nights. And suddenly when you get VM, and like I was chronically ill for 6-7 months. Other people have had it for years. It's quite a shock to the system, but I think you've got to just take a step back and remember, well, this is more of a long-term healing process, but that's not to say that I'm not healing. So if you think about it, your body changes all the time as you age or as you develop or whatever it is. So if you think about it, obviously your body will change again, and then VM won't be as big a problem, but that will only happen with time. So try not to get frustrated. And I know if you're in the chronic phases, I know I'm talking to someone at the moment who's, you know, been really suffering, but when you're in that chronic phase, you need to keep reminding yourself that there will be a day beyond feeling chronic, and then more days beyond feeling chronic, and they will build up, and you'll start to feel better on more days over time. And I think the other thing as well is kind of links that is always look back though on where you've come from, because I bet you, even the chronic sufferers like I was, you will do things now that you didn't do, let's say, 2 months ago. And I've been talking to someone at the moment actually who's exactly like that. So, you know, that they've been in positions where they were in bed all day, and now they actually can go for a walk around the block and walk the dog, or actually do chores in the house. Or another 2 I know, actually, they do their fitness pretty much every day. They're very, very fit girls. So, you know, then if they look back, there was a time when they couldn't do any of that. So it does show that over time, you're making gradual progress. And then I think I've done the video on this as well, so this is kind of a compilation, I guess, but I think the thing to remember as well, if you have a setback, like I kind of had today, I had like quite strong I can't get my words out. So I had quite strong derealisation this afternoon, but I don't feel downhearted, and I'm touching wood here, hopefully, it is just a blip. But when you have those blips, don't get downhearted, because, for quite a number of days before that, I didn't feel any derealisation, and I know I will again. It's just, it might be the light, because it's turned to autumn in the UK, so getting towards the end of autumn, almost into winter actually. So it may have been that. Funnily enough, I was actually reading something that was printed out from a computer, so it was black text on a white background, and I did wonder actually after I finished work for the day whether that actually just triggered a bit of derealisation, because my brain couldn't quite process sounded short tongue, couldn't quite process the text and the words and the light that was around me. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just speculating. So all I'm saying is you will get setbacks, but don't let them knock you back, because the road to recovery is not a straight line. There's always going to be bumps and turns and all that shabazz. So yeah, I think there are the really main things that I've done that I feel has helped my recovery. And I'm not saying these will work for everybody. Maybe some of these work for you, some of them don't. I should perhaps mention vestibular physio as well, actually, before I go. So I did have some of that, and my vestibular physio did think it hastened my recovery, but I've heard mixed things about it when you've got VM. I've heard that some people say that it won't make much difference if the migraine's still firing. So that, it's basically like, I guess, exercising on a broken leg. You can't really do it any good with the exercise until the bones actually started healing. So but my vestibular physio did think that it had helped me and meant that I recovered quicker. So my eyes, when she did the test with my eyes, they were locking onto a target quicker when my head was being rotated. So she thinks that they stabilised. So she thinks that happened faster with the physio than if I'd not had the physio. So do I recommend it? Yes, probably. But again, some of the experts say that it won't have much impact until your migraine stops firing, and that pretty much is only treated by drugs or time, which are two of the things I've already mentioned, or probably a combination of both actually. So yeah, I hope that's useful. So as I said, I'm in the 60 to 70% range at the moment, I think. Will I get beyond 70? I certainly hope so. If I don't, I don't. But at least I am not at like 5%, 2%, which I was for many months this year. So yeah, so hopefully I will get beyond 70%, but if I don't, at least I've got to the 70% range, 60% range, which means you can kind of carry on with life and still do the things you enjoy. Just, you have to do them a bit differently, and you have to look after yourself, and you have to factor in feeling fatigued or that kind of thing. Like, you have to, it's not going to be straight away normal, you're not going to be back to how you were straight away, is what I'm trying to say. You will have to make modifications, but I think all of us would like to be at 70%. Those of us who aren't would like to be at 70%, just making a few modifications, as I've spoke about there, and feel better than we did 3 or 4, 5, 6 months ago when we were chronic. So, yeah, it's, you will have to tweak your behaviour a little bit. So I hope that helps. The video's a bit longer than the ones I've done recently, because obviously with it being a bit of a status update, it needs a little bit more crap from my mouth to get that across. So I hope wherever you are, you're doing as best you can. Don't lose hope, keep faith, and as you were, you'll be again. Always remember that. So I'm going to get off now and go and make some tea, or dinner as some people call it in Canada or the States. So cheers guys, see you soon, take care. Matt signing off.